Sexual assault, which is defined as unwanted sexual contact on college campuses, is becoming very prevalent in today's world. It's important to be aware of this rising issue because this violence has serious consequences, including physical injury, depression, low self-esteem, and anxiety disorders. Many college rapists target victims who are drugged, drunk, passed out, or otherwise incapacitated, creating a situation in which victims may be less likely to report and where prosecutors may be less likely to prosecute. First, I will describe the issue of and the severity of sexual assault to women on college campuses. Then, I will discuss several solutions, including their strengths and weaknesses, before finally making a recommendation for which solution is the best way to solve the problem. The Association of American Universities conducted a large survey with over 150,000 students. It was one of the largest surveys focusing on sexual assault and sexual misconduct. Due to its findings, the debate over just how big a problem sexual assault on campus really is was awakened. Among female college students, 23% said they experienced some form of unwanted sexual contact, ranging from kissing to touching to rape, carried out by force or threat of force, or while they were intoxicated of alcohol and drugs. That is 1 in 5 girls. Even more saddening is that 26% of college seniors, higher than 23% of general college students, said they have experienced sexual assault at college. Nearly 11% of those females said the unwanted contact included penetration or oral sex. Only 2% of victims of incapacitated rape reported the assault to law enforcement. The problem of rape arises from the American culture. It's not taken as seriously as it should or could be. Also, the lack of education on sexual misconduct plays a major contribution to the problem. Many campus communities do not have a clear definition of the behaviors that constitute sexual assault and other forms of sexual misconduct that universities consider unacceptable. We need to fix the problem of having this rape culture on college campuses to make college a safer environment, prevent trauma, and end suffering of future victims. For my solution, it would be very beneficial to educate the student body about what sexual assault is. Education programs should teach people it's important to speak up if they have been in a violent situation and not just stand by their emotions. Some colleges have already started implementing rules and regulations concerning sexual violence. Incoming students at Elon University in North Carolina, for example, must take a course online before they even reach campus that marches them through the ethics of relationships and alcohol's effects on behavior. Orientation at Indiana University includes a musical that covers everything from negative gender stereotypes to what constitutes sexual assault. Sarah Deeg, a behavioral scientist for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, who has studied prevention efforts for sexual assault, stated, "Traditional programs aimed at prevention are brief, 1 hour or less, and focused on improving knowledge about the problem. Knowledge is important, but it's clear these programs don't prevent people from perpetuating sexual violence." Sarah makes a good point, and that is why now a growing number of schools are mandating a deeper dive into the topic. Besides educating the community how to avoid and prevent sexual assault, education about sexual violence will also help victims process what has happened to them and validate what they are feeling. More than 50% of women who reported some of the most serious incidents, including penetration, didn't report the incident because they didn't believe it was serious enough, according to the survey distributed by the Association of American Universities. If women do not believe that the issue of sexual violence is serious, then there is no way to create a solution if no problem is seen. Also, women said that they don't come forward because they are embarrassed, ashamed, or thought it would be too emotionally difficult. They have the belief that the criminal justice system re-victimizes them in its process. Having these programs, the one stated earlier in the U.S. News article, how colleges are battling sexual violence on college campuses is important because if women are educated that sexual violence is a serious crime, it will enable them to talk about it and come forward. A disadvantage to the approach of fighting the issue with programs and efforts is that students may not take these educational efforts seriously. There are some students who don't feel it's an important topic, so will not pay attention to these programs and think they are irrelevant. Also, it is hard to get many students in one place to listen and educate them. Furthermore, it is an additional expense to plan and organize the programs about sexual assault, so some colleges are not making it a priority to continue educating their students on the subject. Another solution would be to make that when women do feel comfortable to come to the university police with their case, they have their voices heard and have their cases taken seriously. Men who are found guilty should also be given a fair sentence. A recent example of a case brought to court that was not taken seriously was that of Brock Turner, a Stanford University swimmer. In January of 2015, he was found sexually assaulting an intoxicated and unconscious woman. Prosecutors asked that Brock Turner be sentenced to 6 years. However, he was only given 6 months in prison for the assault due to his lack of criminal history, and that the judge believed that a prison sentence would have a severe impact on him. What the judge saw was a white male star athlete at a prestigious university. These qualities do not entitle him to leniency, and he also failed to send the message that sexual assault is against the law regardless of social class, race, gender, or other factors. 6 days after the sentence was given, over 191,000 people signed a petition to recall the judge, which is a possibility in California. Justice had to be served, and this punishment did not fit the crime. In the case of Emma Sulkowicz from 2013, a student at Columbia University, shows how outraged this student was that her alleged rapist was still on campus. The man who Emma claims raped her on her dormitory bed, Nungesser, wasn't found responsible. To fight back against him, she carried her 50-pound mattress around with her wherever she went on campus. This was to make a statement about sexual assault to the university and to the community. She called this performance Carry That Weight. She said she would only stop when her rapist was expelled from or left the university. She carried the mattress from 2014 to 2015 and to her graduation ceremony. These two cases demonstrate that men are not punished fairly for the crimes they have committed. It is important to take into consideration what women have to say as well as the men. In these cases, the men were treated in favor and the women's voices were shunned. If women begin to come forward with their sexual assault cases and have their voices heard, justice could be served. Not many women come forward, and therefore the jury system doesn't view these cases as important as they truly are. The government should be making appropriate punishments and taking cases more seriously because the greater the punishment, the more important the case is seen. The ways the government handles cases shape society's culture, so if the men are convicted of their crimes in a greater manner, then our society's culture of leniency with sexual assault will change. Greater punishment will discourage rape in the future because consequences will be seen. Unfortunately, penalizing someone by the law means that someone has already been sexually assaulted and is hurt. It's after the fact, and if more cases are brought to court, there's an instance that a man is falsely accused of sexual assault is higher. This means that more men may be charged for crimes they did not commit, and they would be served an increasingly long consequence. Neither of the solutions offer the best way to deal with sexual assault. Instead, a combination of the two offers the strongest outcome. It is important to educate young adults on what sexual assault is. If young people are educated on the subject, they will be aware of it and have the possibility of changing their behaviors. Understanding what sexual assault is and what the consequences are is important, because if not understood, many consequences will have to take place. Also, if more women speak up for themselves and this subject begins to be taken more seriously, the way our country views sexual assault will change. Women have the possibility to change the views and culture of the world one step at a time. As a young woman attending a large university, this topic is important to me because I would like my campus to be a safe community for myself and for my classmates. Overall, I have spoken about the issue of sexual violence at hand, as well as 2 possible solutions. Being educated on the topic of the current rape culture in America is the first step to preventing sexual violence from occurring. Unfortunately, sometimes it can be too late, so the only thing left to do is to speak up and report the crime. Both solutions work hand in hand, so if young adults took the time to learn about the rape culture going on in America, how they could start to prevent it, and follow the university's policies, many problems could soon be resolved. Unfortunately, there are individuals who do not have an interest in preventing the rape culture nor learning about it, which contributes to why our country has the problems that it does.